I'm Lily McCullough, and welcome to Teen Talk. I have with me today Leah Stein. Would you like to share your story?
Yes. So I've struggled with multiple things throughout my life dealing with mental health. The main one being suicidal ideation. And in my 8th grade year, I hit a very big low. I attempted to take my own life, and multiple of my friends learned about this, and they weren't, I don't know exactly how to talk about it, but my friends knew, and thankfully one of my friends ended up telling my mom, and I got the help that I needed. So throughout my 8th grade year, I was constantly joking about taking my life, but sometimes I wouldn't mean it as a joke or anything like that. Sometimes I would actually mean it, which kind of I made people think it was okay, because they thought, oh, she's just joking, she's not actually gonna do it. And then one day I came into school and told people that I tried to, and it was my main friends, and they learned, and they were like, well, why would you do that? And I said, because I'm not happy with my life anymore, not happy with myself or anything like that. And then after that, I had attempted again, and this time I was closer to being successful. I ended up in the hospital for about a week, and my numbers, like certain numbers, were very high, and the doctor told me if my friend had not told my mom, I would have been dead within 2 hours. So with all of that, I went to a mental hospital, and then went back to school. I was more worried about school than anything else, because I'm very big with my academics. I went back to school after being in the mental hospital and regular hospital for, I think it was a total of 2 weeks. I was out for a day, I think, and then went back to school. It was definitely a big adjustment going back after everything. So I kept my head down, didn't talk about it. My friends knew, that was about it. My friends constantly kept in touch with my mom, making sure I was okay. Other than that, there wasn't much to it. I mean, I struggled before this as well, before 8th grade, but nothing that I actually thought about taking my life. After 8th grade, I realized that I have a purpose to be here, and that people actually enjoy having me around, so I realized maybe I made the wrong decision. That's about it.
Okay, so you said that it started like 8th grade.
Yes.
Like beginning, middle, end-ish?
It was probably about a quarter of the way through.
And what do you think like started like you getting like worse mentally?
I think it was a lot of the stress I was putting on myself academics wise, and I also just wasn't happy. Like, the year prior to that, I was getting bullied a lot for being adopted, and so that took a big toll on me. And the academics, I tried to my best in everything, never gave myself a break, and I realized that I guess I had to be the best in what I was doing, and it took a very big toll on me.
Would you say that you consider yourself a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that?
When it comes to schoolwork, definitely.
So you said that like school definitely took a toll. Was there anything like outside of school that also like took that toll on you, or was it mainly just like the classes and stuff?
I mean, like, there's always like the fights you're gonna have with like random people, that type of stuff. There was that, and just, I guess I didn't really feel liked by anyone. Like, I sort of just felt like that floater friend, something like that. So instead of like feeling like people would want me around, I just was like, oh, they're not gonna really care.
Do you think that like looking back now, obviously you said how thankful you were for your friends for helping you through that. Do you think that they were still that way during that time, you just didn't realize it?
I definitely think that, because after I came back, I took a lot of time to just think, And I realized all of my friends had tried to like, whenever I tried to talk about it, a lot of them would try and help. Some of them would just be like, okay, whatever. But then a lot of them would actually try and help and make me feel better.
And since you had these close friends that ended up telling your family, was there a reason that you didn't ask for help or didn't feel like you deserved to ask for help?
I never really thought it was going to get to the point where I needed help. And I was still, even after I was like, I didn't need help. I didn't feel like I needed help ever. I was like, I can deal with this on my own.
And now you realize that having that help probably would have caused some different
Would've
things.
helped.
Yeah. And so can you give me like a timeline of when things like started to when things like now?
So it started like half or a quarter through 8th grade year. I had attempted to take my life, I want to say closer to the end of my 8th grade year, but I'd been joking and saying I was going to do it, like thinking about it through that entirety. After that, came back and I like focused on myself and like my relationships with people, like my friendships, everything like that. And I made sure that I wanted to make myself a better person. I surrounded myself with people that like I knew cared. After that, my 9th grade year, I definitely sort of just took it easy. I still did like all my academics and everything, but I wasn't gonna overwork myself. And I realized that this is what I was meant to do. Like I was meant to be in the school and alive and doing well. And then 10th grade year just started. So
if you don't mind me asking, do you know what your rank is in your class?
yes, it is 11th.
Okay. Out of
140 something.
Okay. Do you think, I ask this to everyone that I talk about, because like in my friend group, we all like say like what our rank is, and we're all really close to like the top.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be better if you didn't know what your rank was until the like valedictorian speech kind of? Do you think that it would be better not knowing what your rank was compared to others? Because some schools you don't know, like ever. You never know what your rank is. And they seem, from what I saw, they seem more content and less like competitive. Like our class is very competitive, but we're all friends, so it's not like we're competing against each other. We just are all very high up there. Do you think it would be better to not have your rank shown?
I think it could like have its positives. I personally like seeing my rank because I like, it's sort of like that validation, I think. Yeah, validation for all the hard work that I put in.
Right.
Even if it's not like first place, it's still a very good number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of pressure put on those like honors students because you're in all honors, all AP classes like I was, and that's when my mental health started to decline, was when I had this workload and I just was striving to be the best at everything. What are some things that helped you realize that like it's okay to not get 100 on every test?
When I want to say it was last year, my teacher, am I allowed to say her name?
Try to refrain from names. You can say the subject though.
Okay. My math teacher, she was like one of my biggest supporters, and she made sure like if I didn't get 100, she made sure everything was okay. Like she was sort of just, I don't know exactly how to word it, but she made it known that it was okay to not get 100, and like if I was upset about not getting like a high grade, she would make it known that it was okay.
I had a teacher my sophomore year. It was my first ever AP class, and I've gotten high 90s in every class ever. And then I took this AP class where it just like was getting barely a 70 on these tests, and I felt like I wasn't doing anything right, and I felt really bad. And the teacher talked to me and said that this is a college level course, and not getting a 70 is good, because you have to realize that 70 in an AP is like a 90 in a regular class. And it's okay to not get those. And I ended up passing the whole year with a 90 something. But it took a while for me to realize that it's okay as long as I tried my best and I put my best effort into it, that it's still fulfilling to pass. And it's still okay, even if you don't pass, it's gonna happen again. And that's okay, as long as you're putting your best effort in and you are showing that you are actually trying. And that really helped me throughout the rest of the year, in especially like other classes that I've taken. Like last year I took AP Chem, which was a brutal class for everyone, but we all stuck together and we all like reminded each other that it's okay, we're gonna do better in the next one, or it's okay, we have a lab coming up, we'll do good on that, which I think is very helpful to have that like companionship in class to help each other with that. What is something that you do outside of school that helps like calm tension, like a sport, an activity? What's your favorite thing to do?
I like to do color guard along with you. It's just sort of, it's calming and it helps get my mind off of everything, and it just like allows me to forget everything that's going on at school and everything like that. And it's sort of just one big family.
Agreed. What helps you, like, if you're stressed in color guard? I know that sometimes at dance is my therapy, and sometimes I don't do a step right and I get frustrated, and then I ended up getting frustrated in the thing that was supposed to help me not be frustrated. What's something that helps you in that time, like if you get frustrated in the thing that's supposed to help you not be frustrated?
A lot of times I'll just take a minute, maybe like try and listen to a little bit of music, maybe talk to some friends, just give myself a minute to cool down, because I'm someone, if I don't get it right, especially with color guard, I'm gonna get upset pretty quickly. But I realize I'm not gonna be perfect with what I do, so I gotta go with it until I get it right.
Right. So I've talked about mental hospitals in the past with other people that have been on the podcast, and they've shared their experience with that. Would you mind sharing like what it was like, what your like day was like?
Of course. I got there pretty late, so I didn't really experience like a good first day. The first true day that I was in there was pretty normal, I guess. You just eat breakfast and then you sit in, so they called it a unit, and it was just one big room with big heavy chairs everywhere. And they did group therapy, which it wasn't much of like therapy, you just went around and said, like, they gave you a prompt and you answered it. My personal experience wasn't the best in the mental hospital. I talked to a doctor for about 5 minutes, and he said, I don't think there's anything wrong with you, I think you're just autistic, and that you have no reason to try and kill yourself or anything like that. And I saw the doctor, I think 3 times the entire time I was there. And so after that, I was just like, I want to go home. So you just pretty much do group therapy on Monday through Friday. They give you that you go to school, which is pretty simple. It was just basic multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. You read a little bit. You have a lot of downtime in there, a lot of time to reflect. You go to bed around, I want to say, 8 o'clock, but a lot of kids just end up going to bed early. So, but it was definitely, there was a lot more to it than just that, but it was not a very pleasant experience.
That's what I've gotten from other people too. I've had people tell me that they had to keep, like, if they threw away their silverware, they had to dig in the trash and bring it back. Is that true for you too?
Yes. When I was there, it didn't happen, but it was just like plastic silverware, and they're like, you have to put your silverware in this cup when you're done. If not, you will be digging in the trash to take it out. And I'm like, oh, okay. The one time before I went to bed, I was in a different unit to go to sleep. So they took us there, and this girl was talking to one of her friends about a book she was reading, and he said, something along the lines of, okay, it's time to be quiet. And she was still talking very quietly, like I couldn't hear. I was in a different room, but I couldn't hear her. And he got so mad, he came in and was screaming and yelling at her. And she was like, I'm just telling her what this book is about, blah, blah, blah. And the one thing that stuck with me throughout that whole thing was he screamed at her at the top of his lungs, you have no rights, you're in a psych ward, you're crazy. And I'm in the next room over and I'm just listening to all of this. And I just want to go to sleep. I want to get out of there. And I listened to her, like she was taken out of the room and I heard her screaming the entire time.
Was that a healthcare professional that did that and said that, or was that another
so they
patient?
It wasn't a patient.
Okay.
But the next morning we were talking to one of the staff members about it, and she said, I don't know who that is. So we were like, who could have that been? He was a very big, burly guy, someone who looked a little scary. And then, like, he wasn't the normal dude that took us over to the other unit, and he was just not very nice at all.
Do you think that if the staff and the healthcare professionals were more welcoming, that would have made your experience better?
Most definitely. A lot of the staff were very rude. There were the few that were kind and like actually cared for their job. They wanted to help, but then you could tell some were just there for the paycheck.
Is there anything else that you remember thinking that this is abnormal, like the silverware thing? Like, oh, we have to put our silverware in a cup. Like, is there anything else like that you thought was abnormal?
Not really. I mean, the whole place was sort of abnormal. It was just not anything I can think of directly.
Was it like when you think of like in movies, like a mental hospital, and it's like dark and gloomy and creepy and like everything is like boarded up? Was that like how it was actually, or was it different than that?
It was sort of like that. There was one door to go outside, which we went outside sometimes, but it was like, I don't know, maybe as big as this room, and maybe a little bit smaller actually. It was all boarded in. And while you were inside, there were no windows, no anything like that. The rooms that you slept in, they had like little lights, and the lights had cloud pictures on them. And I heard one girl say, it's to make us feel like we're actually outside like normal people. And I'm just like, oh, that's awesome.
If like, I know there's some things in there that like they have to do to keep you safe, obviously, but is there something that you can think of that like maybe like if they painted the walls or if they had something available that would help make your experience better?
I think the whole place needed like a makeover. It was dingy, not dark or anything, but just very dingy. On the doors of the bathroom, which were wooden, that people were writing like stuff like burn this place down and everything like that, which made it a lot more like, oh, so I'm probably gonna like die in here. It was terrifying at some points. I feel like if they had more than 2 staff members watching over a group of, I want to say it was 16 girls, it would have been a little bit easier, because some of the girls were very irate and they got irate easily, and the 2 staff members, and some of them very skinny, like not able to do, like they're able to do stuff, but they're not going to be able to tackle someone if they need to. I feel like that having more than just 2 people in a room would have been a lot more helpful. They just needed to change a lot about the place.
Do you think, looking back now, that experience helped at all, or it was just kind of part of the process that you had to go through?
I think it was just part of the process. I got home after, and when I was home, I felt 10 times better than I was in there. It definitely, I feel like it made me feel worse than before, because with the first doctor telling me that he didn't feel like I needed to be in there, it was like, well then why are you keeping me for an entire week? Because when I was first in there, the first like full day I was in there, I signed a 72-hour hold, so I was allowed to be released within 72 hours. And then I want to say 1 or 2 days later, before I was released, they told me you should unsign this because you can get an AMA. which I didn't understand why, because my numbers, they were coming down consistently and everything like that. And they were just like, well, you can get an AMA and a fine of like, I think it was like $50,000 or somewhere close to that. So I got scared into unsigning the 72-hour hold.
And when you left, you went home and you didn't return to school for a little bit, or did you return to school right away?
I want to say I was out for a day. I want to say I came home on a weekend. So I had the weekend, and I want to say I was out for a day maybe.
Okay.
Or it might have been I came home on a Thursday, didn't go Friday, and had the weekend.
Okay.
But other than that, I just went pretty much straight back.
And did anything change at home? Like, did you, like, the one person that I have talked to in the past said that they were in a facility and then they left, but then they still had to like have like a schedule at home, and then it like eased up a little bit. Did anything like that happen?
Well, it was sort of no social media for quite a while. My parents just, they kept all medicines locked up. Everything that could be used to hurt myself, like all of that had to be somewhere safe. I didn't really have a schedule. It was just sort of, we're happy you're home.
And if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What was the way that you decided was the way to end your life?
I had taken a whole lot of pills, is the easiest way to put it.
Okay.
I had woken up one morning, I'm just like looking in the medicine cabinet, and I found a bottle of Tylenol, and I ended up taking around 50 some, and they were extra strength, so I think it's the 5,000 milligrams. So I ended up damaging my liver pretty bad. I think it's my liver pretty bad. And just recently, actually, I went to the doctor to get my numbers checked again, and they said they were finally back down to normal.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of people that are thinking about things like that, there's something that finally set them off, and then they make a plan. Did you have that moment and then the plan made?
Not really. It was just sort of, I woke up and I figured I'm just gonna do it. There was nothing that really set me off. It was just, I'm here, I don't want to be, and I might as well just do something about it.
And what do you remember afterwards?
Afterwards, so I went to school after taking pills, and my friends knew, and then I went home. I'd eaten dinner and I got really sick, and so my mom was like, okay, well, you can't go to school, and I ended up throwing up multiple times throughout the night. The next morning I was laying on the couch all day, until my friend texted my mom saying, hey, is Leah okay? And my mom said, yeah, she's pretty sick, why? And she said, did Leah tell you what she did? And my mom was like, what do you mean? And my friend was like, she took a whole lot of Tylenol. And my mom, she was understandably upset, because I'm her only child, I'm adopted, and she was caught off guard. So I was pretty much asleep. I wasn't totally asleep, but I was like in and out of sleeping. And she was like, Leah, get up, we're going to the hospital right now. And I was afraid that they were going to send me to a mental hospital. From what I'd heard, they were not I don't know how to word it, not like okay places to be in. And she said, you need to go to the hospital. So we ended up going to the hospital. We were in the ER for quite a while, actually. Remember them taking all of the stuff out of the room. Like, I was there for 4 hours, and they finally started taking it out. And my mom said, why are they doing that? I said, to quote one of my favorite books, they say it's I'm a danger to myself and others, so they have to take everything out. And my mom's like, are you serious? And I said, yeah. I was so dehydrated from throwing up, they could not get an IV in me. It took about, I want to say it was about 13 pokes. So, and then I got transported to the other hospital, where I stayed for a week, and that was just it was like a lot longer. It felt like a lot longer than a week. I try to keep myself occupied with like coloring books, talking to my parents. My godmother came in to visit me, stuff like that. And then other than that, there was nothing really else that I can remember.
So you did get to see, like, people were able to come in and
Yeah.
see you during the day, and then they had to leave.
My parents could sleep over like while like through the night, and then like I want to say like only adults could come in during the day.
Okay. And did they come a lot, your parents, and they'd stay over, or did they visit periodically?
My parents were constantly there.
Okay. Did that help having them there with you?
Yeah, definitely, because I opened up about a lot while they were there, and we shared a lot of like moments. So I think it definitely helped.
Was it hard to talk to them about that?
Most definitely, because I didn't want them to see me as differently for trying to take my own life. I wanted to still be like their little girl. And it was just sort of, it was definitely hard. It was something I didn't want to do. We all got angry at each other. We all cried, stuff like that. But in the long run, I definitely think it helped.
And now, if you ever like are upset about anything or just need to talk about anything, are you able to talk to them about it?
I might mainly talk to my mom because my dad's an over-the-road truck driver.
Okay.
So I just my mom's home like constantly. She's a stay-at-home mom. So I go to her about a lot of this stuff. My dad sometimes gets the information when he's home on the weekends. So it's sort of just, I guess it's a little bit of a relay thing with my mom and my dad. I'll tell my mom, she tells my dad. So my dad never gets it firsthand, but he gets it from my mom.
And now that you are like out of the hospital and back to normal levels, do you still have thoughts about, like, do you still think about what happened, or think like you wish it happened the way that you planned it originally?
I would say most definitely. Like sometimes you get that, like when something goes wrong, I definitely end up thinking, well, what if it would have just worked? This would have never happened. But then I realize that I'm glad it didn't work because I'm here.
Right. And I think that's something for people that have never had any like issues with their mental health, that's hard for them to understand, where they ask, well, why are you going to that extreme? That's the only solution that you can think of. And it's getting better now, obviously, where you're like, back then you were like, the only way out is this one way. But now you can think of, okay, well, what if I do this instead, and then that'll fix that problem, and then I'll do this and that'll fix that problem. Are you starting to think more logically now about that?
Definitely.
And you said that you have had a really good group of friends that have been with you the whole time. Do you still have that group of friends?
Yes, I want to say I'm like 99% sure it's still the exact same. There's definitely been some like arguments within the friend group, but eventually we realized that we're friends for a reason and we're supposed to be friends.
And are you the only one that has any mental health issues in this group, or do like some of your other friends have like mental issues that they can relate to you with?
I'm definitely not the only one. I want to say a good portion of us all have issues. Then again, who doesn't?
Right.
So we all sort of rely on each other. Like we'll talk to each other. We'll make sure we're all okay. So we just we're just like one big like friendship circle. Yeah. We make sure everyone's okay. We're not gonna leave anyone behind.
And you definitely said that your friends and family helped you through all of this. If you didn't have that support group, do you think that your whole journey would have gone differently?
I definitely think that it would have gone differently.
Do you think that people that don't have that support group should try and find someone to help them during that time?
Yes, because I feel like talking about it and being able to have someone there constantly for you is definitely a lot better than dealing with it all on your own.
Something that I find hard, like still to this day, is like I'm okay with change.
Mhm.
Like I love a good change sometimes, but some of the hard things are people leaving. Like last year, I was really close with the seniors, and then they left to go to college, and we all knew what was going to happen. Like you grow up, you go to college. But something that I found hard is that those people that I talk to every day, I can't talk to them every day. I can text them, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Um, so I had to find, I always had another group of friends, but I grew even closer to them because of that. Do you find change like that hard too?
Most definitely. Like, I know this year's definitely gonna be hard on me, especially with you leaving. Um, I've gotten close with a lot of the seniors this year actually, which is kind of surprising because my eighth grade year with band and everything, I was terrified of all of them, and so I think I'm gonna be sad this year, but definitely like people leaving is one of the big things that sort of like not set me off, but set me off. It's sort of like, well, now I don't have this person here anymore.
And your like big group of friends, they're all the same age as you, right?
Three of them are younger.
Okay. So you have them like throughout your whole high school journey to bring you forward. Do you think that when you graduate, you're still gonna stay close with those people?
Most definitely. We are, my gosh, we've all already like planned like staying in touch. After high school, me and my one friend are planning this ginormous trip to Kings Island.
Ooh,
so
okay.
that sounds, we're gonna hopefully get everyone on board.
So after high school, do you know what you want to do?
I have two ideas. I either want to join the army or some branch of the military, or I want to go to college, and I'm not sure exactly what degree I need, but I want to be a forensic scientist.
Okay. And what made you decide you want to do those things?
So I never really considered the army until actually this summer pretty much. I just sort of figured, I don't even know what my brain was thinking. I was just like, the army, and I just sort of rolled with it. And then forensic science, I'm into someone like I like justice. So being that part of like solving the crime, and I can deal with all like the blood and everything like that. And so I sort of just I also watch a lot of Forensic Files. So I'm like, I want to be like them.
And in school, now that you're in your sophomore year, you kind of get to choose more like what classes you take. Are you taking more classes that you actually want to take compared to classes that you have to take?
Well, kind of. It's like 50-50 right now. There were a couple classes that I really wanted, but I wasn't able to fit in my schedule because of everything. But other than that, I got a lot of the classes that I preferred. I'm definitely excited for honors chemistry. It seems exciting. Seems very fast paced, but exciting.
Do you like more like science-based learning? No?
I don't know why, but for some reason I can't stand science. And it's so weird because I want to be a forensic scientist, but it's just that's not the type of science that I'm interested in. Now chemistry is a little bit more towards that way, I guess. But I'm definitely more of a history and English person.
Okay. And what about history and English makes you like it the best?
I don't even know. I think it's just always been easier for me to comprehend. Especially with history, it's more of like a memorization type of thing, and I'm very good with like, I don't have a photographic memory, but I can look at a page and look at it for about 5 minutes and have almost everything on the page memorized.
That will be very helpful.
Yeah.
You said that you're not the biggest science fan, but you are taking the hardest sciences that the school has to offer right now.
Yeah.
You're taking honors chem, bio, AP bio, and those two are pretty hard.
Yeah.
But you're taking the same classes that I did, and I made it through.
Yeah.
It's a big change from freshman year. Are you liking the more independence that you have this year?
Yes. I much rather prefer the independence. Like, I don't mind when a teacher is up like teaching constantly, but I prefer to like go at my own pace, definitely. So I think it's mainly more chemistry that we sort of go at our own pace, especially with labs and everything, and I really prefer that.
Do you like the hands-on learning, like labs? Like
Sometimes, because sometimes it helps me learn a little bit better, but then I get confused easily. So sometimes I prefer the hands-on, but then sometimes I will just prefer the old like note packets and stuff like that.
And do you have teachers or have had teachers that have helped you when you're struggling with either schoolwork or like emotionally, like I just can't do this? Have you had teachers that have helped you through that?
Yes, last year my math teacher, she was my biggest supporter, and definitely spent most of my time in her room. Like during lunch, everything, I was down in her room. Um, this year, it seems like I can probably get along with a lot of the teachers. They seem very relaxed and everything, so I'm kind of excited for that. Hoping I can have that connection with another teacher.
And that teacher last year, she left, right?
Yeah.
Went on to next things. Was that a hard thing for you to come to terms with?
Definitely. I almost started crying on the last day of school. I was sitting in her room and I was like, "Can I get a picture with you?" And she was like, "Yeah, of course." And I like almost started bawling. And my boyfriend at the time was there and we were talking. He's like, "I knew you were about to start crying." And I was like, "Yeah."
But that was a good thing that you had that strong connection so much that you cared so much that you started crying, because that's a release of emotions. And I definitely have that with a teacher or a few teachers. My freshman year, I had a teacher that helped me throughout the year, became like, we were just like buddies. Like, she'd make me laugh, I'd make fun of her, she'd make fun of me, and then she ended up retiring. And now I still see her sometimes when she comes in and subs, but having that person coming into high school after like switching schools, not knowing anyone, not knowing any of the teachers, after coming from middle school where I knew everyone, was really scary. But I immediately connected with her, and she just kind of helped me get through everything, and I could talk to her about anything, and I still to this day talk to her. Like the other day she messaged me saying, "I'm coming in to sub today," and just having like that person your freshman year seemed to really help you, and it definitely helped me. And being able to be okay with them leaving and still having like the like coming and making friends with other teachers and bonding with them is definitely something you should be proud of, because I know that back in 8th grade you probably wouldn't have been able to do that, right? So you should be very proud of yourself that you were able to do something that seems so small, like coming to terms with someone leaving. You should be very proud of yourself for that. So I like to end every episode with a quote from my guests. So what's your quote?
My quote is, "By being yourself, you put something wonderful in the world that was not there before." And that was by Edwin Elliott.
Thank you for being on the podcast, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.